Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Conversations That Matter. Today we have a returning guest, a very special guest, my friend Lily Tang Williams. She is an incredible woman. We had her on before to talk about critical race theory and the parallels with what Chairman Mao was doing in communist China to divide society and really enslave the population there. And of course, we're seeing it now in America. Today we invited her back to discuss the broader parallels. There are some really troubling things happening. Lily has now announced that she's running for Congress, and one of her slogans is that I fear that the country I love is becoming the country I left. And we, of course, here at the New American have been sounding the alarm about this for decades. I've done many articles and many videos showing that some of the very same attitudes and policies that were implemented in communist China are now rearing their ugly head here. Right now we see just this barbarous face of tyranny exhibiting itself in China. Lily, thank you for joining us. Tell us, to start off with, about these absolutely vicious lockdowns in Shanghai. I've seen some of the video footage. There's like robot dogs running around barking orders at people. There's drones telling people to get back in their house and close their windows. People don't have food. What are you hearing? What are you reading about what's going on in Shanghai, and why are you so troubled by that? Do you think and that's in China. I mean, what does that have to do with America?
Well, I actually went to law school in Shanghai for 4 years, worked there for 3 years. I have lots of friends there, from the senior citizens to my classmates in law school. So I'm very worried. I have been, in touch with them through the Chinese app and watch what they say and what they post and videos from inside of China. This is a crisis. Think about 25 million people in Shanghai are in total lockdown. Third week without adequate food. Everybody has to rely on only outside food delivery. Well, when you have 25 million people locked down, who gets a priority to get food delivered? And no matter how much money you have, you cannot go out. You cannot even go to your little neighborhood, walk around behind the barbed iron gate of your community. And if you test positive, your pets are going to be killed. And the sick people cannot access hospital care because hospitals are also closed. There are going to be serious, human tragedies and deaths coming up. I'm calling on Biden and the Secretary of State in the U.S. to call out on China, to ask them to, this zero COVID policy is insane. It's not based on science. It's all politics to show the world, China will not tolerate any zero cases, any cases of COVID. That's absurd. And how brutal that is to watch people yelling, screaming from their balconies at night to say, we want food. My friend told me they have never felt this hungry since Deng Xiaoping's economic opening up policy, but they're hungry now. It's very sad for me to see.
Yeah, it's a tragedy of massive proportions. And I suspect it's only the beginning. And Lily, one of the things that troubles me even more than the atrocities we're seeing in China is that leaders in the Western world, at least self-proclaimed leaders, people like Bill Gates, people like Klaus Schwab of the World Economic Forum, have repeatedly cited China as a model society for dealing with pandemics, for dealing with disease, for dealing with crises. Are you concerned that this attitude toward government, toward policy making that we see in China is slowly creeping into America, at least among the elites?
Well, yes, I don't understand. Immigrants like me thought we fled communism. We left communism behind. We left socialism behind, but they're here. Now we have to fight in our new country to prevent this happening in America. And I hope not. It's like some people are using China as model, as experiment to see how much can people take it, that later some masters in the world to dominate, to tell us how to live and what to see and to stay home and how much food we should have. This is not American I know about when I first came here. I came here for freedom. Now I say freedom is being eroded daily basis, and our people don't know it. And our people support the government lockdowns, support government to tell parents what your kids should learn in schools. That's why, I'm running for Congress. I feel like this is my duty as American citizen by choice to call out those communists, socialists, and globalists in this world. We do not want to learn from China. China CCP dictatorship party have no value and no respect for human dignity, human lives. And why do we want to, use their model? You see what's happening in Canada, what happened in Australia, and it's time for the silent majority freedom lovers in the world to unite, to push back.
Yeah, absolutely, Lily. You mentioned parental rights. We do see this very troubling trend in the United States to just increasingly sideline parents. Now we see a lot of Democrats openly mocking the concept of parental rights, suggesting that this is cover for discrimination because parents don't want their children being told that they might have been born in the wrong body or that they're oppressors because they're born with a certain color of skin or something like this. Talk about the parallels between this attitude and this mindset that we're seeing rise up in America and what the communist Chinese did as they took power and continue to do to this day.
I summarized 12 features, Cultural Revolution under Mao, and every feature, every tactic they used are very similar to today. What's going on? I call the American Cultural Revolution. A neo-Marxism cultural revolution right now is happening. And you saw that the people who think that we should talk to the kids about sex, transgender when they're like 2 up to 3rd grade, and like a Florida bill is called a parental rights bill. But they name that differently to brainwash their followers and to attack, Florida bill. I want to point out, create genderless society and make young people confused and fight, rebel against social norms and the traditional nuclear families and values is a feature of Mao's Cultural Revolution. Here you go. Why are they doing this? And what is their purpose? It's to destroy America. It's replaced with what? With socialism, with the communist control. It's terrifying for me to say these similarities. And I hope people can check out my Facebook, my website to see those 12 features. It's also on my YouTube, lilytangwilliams.com YouTube. That it's very scary. And I hope parents will not, be silenced and unite and fight back like Moms for Liberty group.
Why do you think it is, Lily, that communists are so obsessed with attacking the family? It wasn't just in China. We saw this all over the place where communism rose up, and especially prior to the revolutions, there was just this relentless effort to dismantle the family. We saw it in Europe. We saw it in Hungary when the Bela Kun regime came to power. One of their first and most immediate tasks was to try to sexualize the children, try to break down traditional Christian norms and values when it came to the family. Why do you think there is this obsession with attacking and undermining the family and the authority of parents by totalitarians?
I think that's what the communists do. They do not value families. They want to destroy nuclear families, and they want to turn families, neighbors against each other. Identity politics is a hallmark of Maoism. So by destroying nuclear families, take away children and take away parental rights, and so they can indoctrinate, brainwash the young people, make them become social justice warriors. I call them red guards. I was one of them. So I have seen all this before, the tactics they use. And I was a little girl. I could not even look like a little girl and dress up like a little girl because I had a dress code and I could not look pretty. I could not talk about romantic love. So it's created this massive society confusion. And so they can turn people and rely on government instead of rely on communities, rely on families, rely on your mom, dad. And it's to me, it's just the tactic they use and to destroy a free society. America is the only one in the way now for that kind of communist revolution in the world. So we have to really connect the dots, get the people to wake up and to say, we don't want to go down that path. And we have natural rights given to us by the creator, by God, not by government, and not by government organizations, agencies, teachers, unions, not any of those. So we just need to push back and fight back as hard as we can. If we keep our head down, guess what? they will take away everything, our private property, our children, our businesses, and then tell you stay home, how much food you should eat, and don't go out. And the more and more lockdown coming, heard people talk about more pandemic is coming. Did we learn enough in the past 2 years? And also what you should put in your body. If you don't, you're gonna lose your jobs and lose your careers. To me, it's a very scary stuff going on right now in the world.
Yeah. It really is, Lily. It is. It's so troubling, especially because we've seen where this leads. We saw it in Cuba, we saw it in Vietnam, we saw it in China, we saw it in Russia, we saw it in Germany, we saw it in Angola, we saw it in Mozambique. I mean, we've seen this movie so many times before, and it always ends the same way. We have got to get involved. Lily, what are some of the things that people can do? I know you're running for Congress because you want to put a stop to this. So what are some things that everyday Americans can do to try to hold this totalitarian monster at bay?
Well, that I'm running as a Republican in New Hampshire Congressional District 2, and I have a primary opponent, primary September 13th. I'm asking grassroots people who love freedom, who are against communism, socialism, donate to my campaign, lilytangwilliams.com, so I can go to Congress, call out progressive, socialist, communist-like people to say, your policies are communist, and your terms you use, tactics you use are communist. And we don't want to go down that way. You see lots of immigrants like me are stepping up, running for office. So we have to connect the dots, at least to see these similarities. This is my duty. I'm doing this to save the country. I'm living American dream. I'm just afraid this dream will not be there for my children and for my fellow citizens, their grandchildren. So I hope people can support my campaign, spread my messages, and share my videos. And this is a critical moment. We cannot be afraid. And you already see cancel culture silence us. We cannot even, have free speech anymore. You can lose your job, lose your career. How bad things have to get for people to realize what is going on. So I'm the best person to go out, connect with people with my personal stories and with the human sufferings today in China, and call out our government and people who sympathize with China and doing business with China to say, what are you doing? That you should call out now. There are human rights abuses instead of only, focus on their profit and they control the global control new world order.
Yeah, it truly is amazing to me, Lily. I've seen this everywhere I go in America. Some of the strongest patriots, some of the people who most love this country and most value the liberties that we enjoy are people who have come here, who are not even born here, not even native born Americans who are on the front lines defending our freedom. I'm from Miami, and we have over 1 million people who came from Cuba, and these are some of the most ardent defenders of freedom, some of the strongest supporters of our country that we have. And the same thing is true with so many people who fled from China and from Vietnam and from the Soviet Union. It's truly sad, I think, Lily, that so many Americans who were born here just take all this for granted. They have no idea what these horrible systems have done. Lily, before we let you go, tell us how to find your website, your campaign website. I think it's lilytangwilliams.com, but just confirm that for us. If people want to learn more, get involved, tell us how to do that. And finally, give us just a little bit more insight on what you would do in Congress. What are some of the specific policies that you would support, actions that you would take to try to defend freedom in this country?
Well, that my top priorities for issues are like a combat inflation, because inflation is tax increase without legislation on the working class and poor, and protect parental rights. If we give up that, our kids will be continued to be taken away from us, and they will be Karl Marx by the time they come back from college or graduate from high school, and stop radical left agendas and their policies. And like progressive want to push in the US Congress right now, the BBB, Green New Deal, those are not good for the people of New Hampshire, for our country. And we need to increase energy production, and instead of tap into our oil reserves and rely on foreign oil. And we also need to unsecure our borders. China is doing lots of fentanyl supplying and shipped to Mexico, and coming from 1,000 wide open borders. And our people in New Hampshire are dying of overdose of fentanyl. I don't know why our Democrats congresswoman will not call that out. We're a secure border right now, Biden. what are you doing? That's like all the illegal immigrants coming here with different set of rules, and human trafficking and children trafficking, drugs coming. Why do we talk about Russia every day, but not talk about our southern borders? I call out media on that.
Yeah, great stuff, Lily. And how can people find you online? What's the campaign website? How can they get involved?
It's lilytangwilliams.com, and go to donate button. Please donate. I need the grassroots support. I am the grassroots candidate. And also I am on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. I'm everywhere. I have been educating people for past 5 years, but the country got worse. So I need to go national. I need more people share my messages and my videos. So I will appreciate your support very much. And if you want to sign up to get a campaign update, go to my website, sign up as volunteers. And especially if you live in New Hampshire, I need volunteers, have a very good, strong team to help me to get this campaign a victory.
Well, Lily, we so appreciate all the work that you have done to sound the alarm about what's going on, about the parallels with communist China. And we look forward to speaking to you again once you are in Congress. You can tell us what's going on. So thank you again for joining us. Thanks for all you've done for the fight for liberty. We appreciate you very much. And hopefully we'll talk to you again very soon.
Thank you for having me, Alex. Have a good day.
Absolutely, Lily. All right, folks, that was Lily Tang Williams running for Congress in New Hampshire's 2nd District, a true American patriot who came here from communist China and knows the tactics that the communists use to subvert freedom, to destroy families, and to implement totalitarianism, a real freedom fighter. I want to thank you folks for watching. I'm Alex Newman. This is Conversations That Matter for the New American Magazine. Go to thenewamerican.com, follow us, share this material out, guys. You know the fascist social media companies do not want this information out there. We depend on folks like you to keep doing what we do and to keep getting the message out. Thanks again for watching. Until next time, God bless you all.